Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie and I surf. I've surfed a lot longer than I've snowboarded. It was my first passion. It's something I still do all the time. I live in Bend and I don't get to surf the ocean as much as I used to. Now I snowboard all winter, but I surf the river wave in the summer and sometimes in the winter. We get a lot of varied temperatures. So I've really been geeking on gloves and trying to see which one's the best for me when it's freezing cold. Our water temps can get down to like 33, 34, but go all the way up to like 60 degrees. So in the winter when I go out, I want a good glove. I was lucky enough to get this Hotline 3mm plush thermal glove. They sent this to me in exchange for a review, but there is no brand oversight and I'm allowed to say whatever the hell I'd like. And if you like content like this aimed to help the consumer and not to promote the brand, please like and subscribe. Support us on Patreon to get exclusive videos with early access to reviews as we're testing gear. Also, buy through the links on our site. That helps us tremendously as well. And check out some of our merch. But to get back to this glove, I've surfed this extensively in cold weather, everything from high 30s into high 40s, which is about when I need gloves. At the river wave, it's a little different than being in the ocean. We're standing out of the water and waiting, and we're not in the water at all times. That's much colder. So I don't need as much warmth at the river wave as I do in the ocean. So those are the temps I'm talking about. But if I was in the ocean, I would need these in the low 50s as well. I compared it against my personal favorite glove. This is the Psychotech 3mm glove, which is my personal favorite out of all the gloves I've tested. I like this the best. It's a nice balance between fit, durability, and flex. So this is a tough comparison because this Hotline has a lot to stand up against. And what I found is this little glove, in a short summary, held up very well against my favorite. It's not as fancy tech-wise, but in terms of warmth, in terms of the design and the durability, I think it's very close to my O'Neill Psychotech 3mm here. And so let's talk about fit. First off, the large was a much better fit for me. It really fit well on my hands. If you compare this to the medium, which I normally do in O'Neill, I thought this fit good enough, but I felt there was some webbing right here and it didn't quite fit my fingers as well. It worked. And I kind of like the webbing because I felt like it gave me a little bit of extra paddle power. And yes, I was paddling at the river wave, not as extensively as I do in the ocean, but I put a lot of time testing these because I wanted to see how they paddle. And this was kind of cool, but I love the dexterity and the grip I have with these, especially because I like to acid drop into the wave. So these allowed me, the larges, allowed me to hold my board better. And they did have a little webbing, especially in comparison to the O'Neill that I really liked. And let me show you. This is the O'Neill Psychotech 3mm. Let me put this on for you just to kind of show you how they compare. This large feels like a medium. You can see here, they fit pretty well, but there's just a little webbing down here where it doesn't bother me. Like you can see, it's got like a little bit of a starfish thing going in comparison to my O'Neill, where this feels more just like a glove. And I actually like that little advantage for paddling better. So as an ocean surfer, I think I actually preferred this and this fit a little better. But as a river wave surfer, I liked this because it's more of a traditional glove. I'm not paddling as much, and I want to be able to grip my board for an acid drop. This did a better job. Now, in terms of warmth, this 3mm is very warm, and I love whatever Hotline's doing with their material. They didn't put like this fancy rubber on the outside to block wind, but I didn't feel like wind was getting through. I'd say the O'Neill maybe is a touch warmer, but it's so close that I really didn't complain when I had these on. I didn't feel like I needed one over the other. And a lot of times I'd go out with one glove on one hand and this glove on the other, because that's the only real true way to compare warmth. Now let's talk about the liner. You got this fuzzy liner. I'm not normally into that, but it's nice and warm. It holds a little more water, but that's okay. You know, we're not looking at Yamamoto rubber for gloves. But then it's got a smooth area on the palm, and I really like that. You can see it gives you a little more dexterity. If you compare that to the O'Neill, it doesn't have that fuzz, but it just has that red material that's kind of like a hybrid version of this and this. It kind of sits in between there. So maybe that's why these felt so warm and almost as comparable as the O'Neills in terms of warmth. It's just a touch, just ever so much of a touch warmer with these, but just barely. And that's mainly when it's windy. When it's not windy, they feel about the same. Now, when it comes to durability, surprisingly, I always found that my O'Neill wetsuits, they're very good. They're very well built. They're very stretchy, but they're not the most durable wetsuit I've had out there. But as far as gloves go, I haven't found a glove that matches this durability. And I'm grabbing a lot more, like when I'm done with a wave, sometimes I just come up to the wall and I put my hands down on this cement wall. It's kind of porous, and it takes a toll on surf gloves. It really wears them down and breaks them down over time. So it's not going to be like a lot of people ocean surfing. I do think, though, there will be a lot of times when ocean surfers are going out, like I remember like so many times going out through rocks and such to get out to surf. You're constantly putting your hand down to get balance. So you do need some durability, not as much as I do at the river wave, where your hands are constantly in touch with surfaces that break down a glove's material. But I would say these do a pretty good job. I did, as you can see here, I did cut this up a little bit, holding on to the cement wall, getting on and off. So it's not quite as durable as my O'Neill, which still is holding up pretty well. But overall, it's very durable. It's more durable than the Excel and any other glove I've tried out there. And it's very repairable, but I hate wetsuit glue. It just seems to make that area colder. And I've done that with my O'Neill gloves after a season or two, you know, just breaking these down and trying to glue them. Those areas just seem to conduct the cold into your hands. I don't know why, but they do. Overall, I'm very impressed with the Hotline gloves. I think this Hotline glove is a great first edition, and my apologies to Hotline. We had some shutdowns at the river wave. It's been more difficult to get out in the winter. Our flow has been low, so they've actually lowered the plates, and I haven't been able to winter surf and cold weather surf. So it took me a lot longer to do an extensive test than I thought. But here it is, and I think as far as ocean surfing gloves go, as well as weird wave surfing like the river wave here, or going out into a lake and wake surfing, or foiling, kite surfing, anywhere you need a warm glove, especially when you're out there and the wind's blowing on your hands and it's cold out there and you're in cold water, I think these are very recommendable gloves, and they're right there with my O'Neill. And in the ocean, I think they even have a touch of an advantage. I felt like I paddled a little bit better with these, and every little bit counts when you're average like myself.